Hello and welcome to Green Horizons, a new frontier. This special edition of our show is brought to you by the Environmental Investment Fund. During the next half an hour, we will look at a series of projects identified and funded by the EIF and aimed at the conscious management of natural resources in the Kavango and Zambezi regions. Inhabitants of the Kavango region are generally skilled and hard-working people. They are meticulous carvers and have lived on the bank of the Kavango River for many generations. In that sense, the forest and the rivers have been their way of life. The timber from the forest have fed generations and continues to put roofs over their heads. But while things have been done the same way for many years, all that could change here at Namagoro Forest. A new green scheme is breathing a new sense of life into the community. This 20-meter by 50-meter greenhouse is a new chapter within a host of new initiatives promising to revitalize the community. Despite the Namagoro Forest spreading a vast 26,000 hectares, this greenhouse could really be the community's turning point and prevent the cutting of trees in the forest. It might be a small area, but with climate-smart technologies, the yield here could be substantial. Lucas Mandema, the project coordinator on the ground, tells Green Horizon what set the greenhouse apart from the rest.
I would like first to thank the Environmental Investment Fund for making it possible for us to set up all this system of the greenhouse. And this greenhouse are two for the two community forests, Namagoro and Mbeyo. So the two greenhouses that are set up is 50 by 20 meters, which is 171 square meters. And we are using the flat top. They call them the Venlo natural ventilated greenhouse. Why we are using this greenhouse is because we are moving into a climate smart technology of farming and also using a limited space to preserve the community forest. We have seen how the community forest been opened up for agricultural projects or for farming, and we would like to teach or showcase to the community to say you can produce on a smaller area with a higher output from the small land that you have. So with this greenhouse, we are using more environmental friendly materials, such as we are using a 5-year durable shed net, and also the setting up of the greenhouse, we are using different technologies where you can see the raised seed beds using the local materials, and then the use of manure, and also the production of green vegetables, because this community forest, they do not have any greeny leaves after the rainfall. So with this greenhouse, we can produce and feed as much as they are on a smaller area. So the technology we have used is natural ventilated. It can allow sunlight of 40% inside, but the system can ventilate itself by using the 80% on the sides, which is the long wave cannot escape because of the intensity of the 80% on the sides. And then the insects also, they are trapped outside. As you can see, there's no any flying insect here because the netting outside is using the insect netting trapping, so it cannot come in to destroy what is growing inside. So it's perfectly well. And also in terms of contamination of the plant, it's limited because there's less intensity of movement or touching of plants, which also stimulate us to have this system work. So this system, the way we designed it is we want per row of plants, how much can we produce? So one of this row, this is a 50 meter, we have divided into 3 sections. So one section is 18 by 20. So this 18 by 20, we have 14 seed bed inside. So this 14 seed bed is 90 centimeter between the rows and then 1,800 centimeter long. So the spacing that we have put is of 20 to 30 centimeters. So that in each row we can plant a maximum of 40 plants. So if it's 3 rows, then we multiply that 40 by 3, then it will give us 120 plants per row, per seed bed. So now if we have now 8 seed beds or 14 seed beds, now you multiply by the number of plants.
As small as the area might be, there are 40 plants per row on a drip irrigation system. With the hybrid seeds used, one plant can yield up to 20 kilograms of tomatoes. Doing the maths will reveal that 120 plants per seed bed will produce 2.4 tons of tomatoes. And if these tomatoes are sold for $30 per kilogram, that earns the project an incredible 72,000 Namibian dollars per seed bed. The greenhouse is simply in a class of its own. The shade nets keeps all the flies and bugs out, while the termites that might be inside are fumigated in these biodegradable plastics before planting. Senior head woman from the Bunza Traditional Authority, Heleni Mwanango, has welcomed the greenhouse, saying it will help with poverty eradication.
Pando siri kompito, ose mokwatera morudirwa mbunza, kwa hafa siripo kuzuva project ezi, abatwa hafere, twakere na tati, ngaimone kasirindi, ngatusinganyeke. Tatusinganyeke ye tatara ngwendi ninke yoidonadona ya kuwiza. Ngwendi yoidonadona tuyatareko. Awenge sirudirwa mbunza, rwagwanenemo. Bantu awa parukireko. Kapisiro ruhaforo kufano kutara. Twahafa siri unene. Ezi project ezi, tazikagusa mo ruhepo mu bantu wange. Bantu wange ngawa hepa. Aba bamwe bagwanene ko mpirimo makuli zambera. Twaihuguwa raskomeo takagwana moyuma. Ano, bantu wange kwa kere no udigwa simadama tenga agaranda ure. Ehidi kutupu isinke nainye. Nainye yimwe kapita imona twakumona, kuimona moitora kuiranda ndiro sili mtu akuiranda. Nani nayo kuikuna. Twaya ninke bantu wange balirongereko. Udiwo kuninkasi aota baya tawakabareka nawo kukarugana. Ipata yawo bene mora baya lirongereko udiwi kwezezi projeka. Twazi hafere siri unene.
Technical advisor of this project is Dr. Wilfred Sinongo. He has called on the community to embrace a sustainable future for the greenhouse.
From the start, I can see that if the community has accepted this community has embraced this very well, this idea very well. I see that in some of the work that they have done with me. They're very enthusiastic. They're very interested in the whole thing, and if they continued, and we should try to also empower them so that they see the benefits that they will have in future. That should be very sustainable as far as I'm concerned. It's not the same as producing in the surrounding area where you have a lot of insects, a lot of challenges. This has reduced a lot of production challenges outside. For example, I wouldn't have expected that these tomatoes would be growing outside the greenhouse at the moment. So once they see this is a good environment. Even when you are working, the temperature is cooler, the place is cleaner, and so they should embrace this very well.
The direct beneficiaries and volunteers at the greenhouse are very fond of the project.
Yareta eli chinjo poktara mora ininge itwa pire kumona pomkunda gwetu ya wiza no seto ya karanayo tani kwa kumoneke na uwawa mora kaptwa indindiri asi kubura tia kare no se no kakuni no gona ko forestry pomkunda gwetu ngezi kwa kumoneka we tapa wiza kali chinjo wene na wa moktara si ngape mtu akurugane ininge etu awe twa hafa mora sininge swapire kundindira pomkunda sa wiza tani no se kapinga tuza hena ure tuze korundu ndiko chume buwa tukapapare madama tendie kovi awe no se twafamo kundindira nyewa kwetu wa wizenye barande pomkunda gwetu ininge na twapire kundindira twaiha fere siru nene udigu tupo wakarasika kuni no ketu kanunu twahara tupuko meo se twagana mo wizamo tusnene pekeko.
The site includes a retrofitted borehole with solar panels which has been providing water to the greenhouse as well as the livestock of the community. Welcome back. Up next is an initiative that is easy to implement in your own home. So, take a look. In today's Do-It-Yourself segment, we will be learning from seasoned horticultural producer Rogan Mutangala how to make a liquid fertilizer. To begin with, what is a liquid fertilizer?
This is a rapid liquid compost that we normally use to supplement our crops. Actually, it's a liquid that you make and it will be ready within 14 days. Then after 14 days, we take it out from the tap here, as you can see. The liquid itself, we use it to apply to the crops. Then the crops actually will do very well. Since we are not using chemicals, we are relying on nature, using more organic matters. As you have already made this thing, there's a 50 kg bag inside for crow manure. That is for, I would say, that is for the cattle and for the chicken. So you incorporate them together in the bag. Then the bag, you leave it hanging in the tank here. Then every day we have to shake it a bit, just shaking so that the whole stuff can be mixed up very well.
When using the liquid fertilizer, make sure to apply it underneath the crop as illustrated here.
I can show as an example. This is a crop. I apply here. Again, I apply here. I just do distribution per each plant. Yes.
How often should this be fed to the crops?
We normally feed it twice. Looking at how the crops are looking like, if they appears to be like starving, they need to give more nutrients. We give it. But those that are looking okay, we normally give once a week just to keep them going up, to keep them growing bigger. When we harvest, then we apply. After harvesting, we apply the rapid liquid compost.
How does this mixture compare to the other compost or fertilizers?
An ordinary compost that we normally make, it has got different organic matters. We get the crow manure, that is the nitrogen itself. Then we also get the dry grass. We get the greens, those are the leaves as well. We get the twigs. So we make a pile of layers of different organic matters. Then it will stay for 3 or 4 months. So you can't wait for 3 or 4 months because those are the only organic fertilizer we rely on. So as we are waiting for the compost heap to be ready to use it to apply to our crops, we'll come up with this. So this one is get ready every after 14 days. So we apply to our crops. So it helps to quicken the growth of the crops.
The mixture of the manure in the drum in this instance is chicken and cattle, but should it be restricted to that? Mutangala explains.
Depending on what kind of livestock do you have at the farm, because organic farmers is very much important, not only to farm alone in crops, but we have to diversify. We must have also livestock. Livestock will also help to give us the manure. Then the manure, those are the ones we use to apply to our crops. So you can use for the chickens, You can use for the ducks, you can use for the sheep, you can use for the goats. Yeah. Also for the horse, the donkey, if you have all those things. Donkeys, we can still do the same.
Time for a break, but when we get back, we head to Sigon, where a 10-hectare land project is not going according to plan. We find out what is being done to rectify the situation. Welcome back. You are watching Green Horizons. The Sigon demo site is a vast 10-hectare area with 3 subsections earmarked for a nursery, dry land, drip irrigation, and a market and storage unit. But progress on this site has been slow. The land consists mainly of fine sand, and according to liaison officer Victoria Hango, they had a trial planting in January, after which the yield was very disappointing. She, however, sees good opportunities once the project is completed.
I'm very excited to be part of this community development project and also to contribute to the mandate of the Ministry of Agriculture for securing food in Namibia and also to improve livelihood for the farmers. It is a very big project and it can actually make a significant impact in somebody's life, especially for the local farmers. Local farmers normally put effort and finances into their production and horticulture and stuff, but they don't actually improve their livelihood standards. I believe this project will make a difference in their lives, and I'm actually happy. I hope in the next 2 years we will come back here and talk about how much was made out of it, the production level and all that. Unfortunately, this type of soil is sandy soil. Some area you find is a bit sandy loamy, but then it is, when we did the soil testing, it was literally very, very poor when it comes to soil nutrients. So last season we tried to do a little bit of production, and we put 4 hectares under dry land production, but then we did not have as much yield as we anticipated. It was actually because of also poor rainfall, because we have plowed late, and we have put up some measures to approach new approaches to the next season. We have a total number of 30 members here. So they are going to be operating themselves under on the horticultural part, and then they will be now sharing the benefits among themselves.
The water from this project comes from a submerged water pump in the Kavango River, but that too has not reached the tanks. Local headwoman Martha Sitoka Haimbili shares her frustration.
Kuliko nkare ni hape. Na kuliko kama kuligendereza. Andane bingureza utano tukumbagira kweliki. Ele manguru kwe mwatanda ngato myekupopele ninzara. Papa kara mkundo kunga banabe tunga bakuta. Kanda nene kuwiza nene pota mburoko ke ima kurugana somu. Nene ogwana tenderi. Akura imali watolinye kondugo dogo. Okuta ya kumbagere bakweni. Teya bapenye noranda. Wahana kureta konye tutaria si ababantu siri kwa udata ya tupope. Nzara bebi. Ndi mwamono dipidedi nondiedi tuakuli enyo kusuka usura isinke nanyi. Wakutundo koza kutundo do corona. Pangala nyoko wakufa kongoso. Ingai turerangani njeni. Wato. Watu puena no utese kapi corona na vituria. Usata vituri nyezara. Tuwapo ngano nyonenye bana bange. Inotendere mwa kutambura. Matuo goma mana kugwana nye kurandeza. Tankoru gane nye. Ituremo mnondia. Ituremo mkenye simwe. Urata kuparuka. Kapi tulikuba gere nione wakwetu. Kuliako mtwasi ananenepa kwa kukuta. Mtwasi kwa kudana kwa kukuta. Mnoge tena ndara taduka gana membondi. Yana kumtandira me. Simwa tupukani kamwene pina komkuro. Komkuro kapu kwa zere senge na wana. Kagusa sora gina jokuta terado foni. Makura jomwa kutukumbagera gina ninke sora. Katura ko sora zonene. Jokuna na usimbu menaga ujoku.
The Sigon project has all the signs of a potentially good harvesting hub, but one cannot shy away from the challenges that have been highlighted. Green Horizon spoke to EIF how the situation can be remedied.
Sigon is one of our primary demo that we started with. It's a 10-hectare. Impressively, the local authority, to be more specific, the traditional authority through the head woman there, they availed the land, definitely with anticipation and hoping that transformation will be reached within the community. That should be in forms of food security, in forms of job creation opportunities among those community members. Yes, a few challenges have been recorded in terms of the slow pace at which the project activities have been implemented so far. However, we have really acknowledged those different challenges which come actually in different forms. So you have, of course, issues of probably stakeholder engagement. Maybe we have at some point not briefed the community and involved them in the process that we are actually dealing with, especially at the central office through our regional representative. This is the project liaison officers who are actually representing the project on the ground. Eventually, in the same line, you have the key stakeholders or the role players who are now the Ministry of Agriculture, who are the technical stakeholder to do the implementation. Mind you, this project, for it to be sustainable, it should be embedded within the systems of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Land and Reform. So it is quite eminent that we keep intact that all the development, all the process, be it procurement, be it technically experts that are needed on the ground, we should reach a common ground to understand what exactly is needed there.
The depth at which the EIF has penetrated the Kavango region's communities is remarkable. Staying with community projects, we now move from a horticultural production side to a dry land production with special emphasis on conservation agriculture. The Shankara demo plot is a 10-hectare land with 10 beneficiaries. By July, when Green Horizon visited the site, they had already reaped the harvest and the stumps on the site have been reintegrated in the soil. The team spoke to Liaison Officer Lynette Sinalumbu to get a better understanding of conservation agriculture.
Conservation agriculture is a practice whereby one has to produce foods by implementing three principles of CA, of which we have minimum soil disturbance, crop rotation, and mulching. If a farmer applies those three principles, always the yields are going to be higher than when a farmer is just embarking on doing a traditional farming or a conventional way of farming.
Having expertly pointed out what conservation agriculture is all about, Green Horizon then contacted direct beneficiaries, Lenyando Teofile, who also weighed in on the topic.
Twara unandima muri wao ndi unandima ndika sha unandima shininke mke. Unandima shinika sho shinakaro shinika sha muri unene. Shakuranga sho shinakuchinjo maparo abantu unene. Mora kuvura ulime kukaraira kuna kurenka livu umane kulima kurenka uwapike livu ukune mobinike wenga karengo singabi kakupesa impemu yangu onga karengo simu yangu kuvura urere na mpiri mkunda bamu mkunda kuvura bawane mnabo liparo shimpe.
Teofili harvested 350 kilograms of mahango during the past season. This had the chairperson of the Giku Traditional Authority feeling happy as his community's yield have started to increase.
Ino project yetu inaita shiningi shashuwa ocho shinaturopo likuchinjo linayapo linatapa mukumo ku bantu boshi bakari na ruhafu rwa runene mkuruwana yibapire njara kuruwa rwande ngo limekuna kwamba wenu chichakuhoberera ngono inatiki na biche tunahepa ntani kutapa madeuro ku bantu betu na mpiri ngwa bakara wa mwechi bayiba mu yangandi ngodi lideuro linahepa kukara pontani.
Water and water pumps have, however, been a constant concern from beneficiaries and the authorities overseeing these projects.
We have observed different issues. I will be more specific. We have a group of women at Salem who are doing quite a great job there, creating opportunities not just for themselves, but you can also see they are creating opportunities for the street vendors who are holding a bulk of the economical activities at the local level. It was quite amazing. So however, as you have said it, at that site we have some few challenges, especially water pressure. It's quite a serious issue there. We have procured a number of drip liners that have to be lined up for them to use now and move from the sprinklers to the drip irrigation, which is more smart and conserving water. However, the pressure has been a challenge, especially now to draw water from the river. So what we are busy with, our contractors are actually on the ground. We have engaged with the private engineers also to assist in that aspect. We have done the assessment just to actually follow up what is the hiccup over there. But within a short period of time, we are expecting this problem to be resolved. That should be probably in a week's time also.
That brings us to the end of this special program that looked at some of the projects in Kavango and Zambezi. Next week, we visit Salem and speak to local vendors who catch the freshest veggies. While in Zambezi, we also shine a light on a graduate who ran his father's farm.